Okay, let's get ready to cover our album cover. We are not going to completely decorate it until we get all the pages in, but let's get the pieces of paper on. So we have actually, this was already in your cutting guide to cut both of these. You are going to add your score tape, and what you're going to do is add it all the way around the perimeter, and then I put one down the middle, and then I put one on each side. Now, as you look at how your papers are going to go on your book, this one's going to go like that, and this one is going to go like that. So you need to figure out where they go, because on the ones that are on the outside, you need to add one more strip of tape. So really what's going to happen when you're doing these are the exact same pieces. You turn them over, and one on this side, you're going to have the extra tape here, and on this side, you're going to have the extra tape. Okay? So again, they're both facing the same way, here and here. Okay, so let's go ahead and adhere our covers. Now the cool thing about the way I'm going to do it is we can actually lay our book flat at this moment. Now make sure you get the one that goes on here that has the double taped, that's going to go right here. And so we're going to take your tape off, and we're just going to center it on there. Okay, so this has a lot of score tape that I'm just going to toss off to the side. I'd like to, no, I should put a garbage can close on the floor by me, I guess. That would be a good idea. Maybe I will do that. Maybe I will do that. Okay. Super excited, you guys. We're getting so close. We're going to be putting our pages in very soon. Okay, again, remember, we are going to put glue just across our tape. And this is going to take you just a few seconds because we have a lot of tape on there. But we want to do that because when you put this page down and you don't get it right how you like it, you would be in trouble if you didn't do this little glue step. And then, of course, in our blank spaces, what are we going to do? Yepper, yepper. I heard you all say scribble. Okay. So now I'm just going to, leave a little black lip all the way around and put that on there. So these pages we already they're already cut, but I will remind you of the size. The size will be on the screen. Burnish that down. I'm going to do my other side. I'm going to try not to bump the camera here. I'm going to get rid of all my papers. I think when you start learning how to use glue with your score tape's your friend. When you don't use glue with your score tape's not your friend. I've myself, before I learned that little trick, have ruined many things by putting my paper down and it wasn't straight, and I either leave it and get upset, or I tear it off and make a mess. So, yeah. So I am going to glue my edges here. So this morning I went to our local quilt store, or show, excuse me, quilt show. It was beautiful. They had beautiful, beautiful quilts. I came home and I had bought literally some fusible applique paper. That's it. My husband's like, what? I kind of chuckle. Okay, so again, remember your double tape is going to go over here to the outside. And again, we're just going to center that on there. And let me put my lid on my glue. And what did I do with my tool? Oh, here it is. I cleaned it, so I can't see it. Okay. I want to share with you before I go any farther. This pen is called Stella. You can get it at J&S Hobbies, and it's clear. And I have used it on my pages wherever there was glass. So like in my lighthouses and on my bottles. And I'm going to try to I don't know if you can see any of the glitter that's on, like right in here. And it's right in here. I know that's super hard to see. Well, you might be able to, oh, there you can see it. I think you can see it right there. The Stella really is just a brush. Oh gosh, that was the wrong one to undo. Sorry. It's just a brush, and you just paint it on, and just like brush it on, and it dries pretty quickly, and it makes the most beautiful, beautiful glitter. Again, this is the clear glitter. They make it in gold and something else, but I honestly just use the clear. Okay, so don't panic because you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on with this? We're going to take care of this when we get all done, the outside of it will finish last, but what's going to happen is we're going to put these pieces over here and we'll have something covering those up. So that's pretty cool. Okay, the next thing that we're going to cover is the spine. And I know this is kind of a challenging thing. It's also sometimes challenging for me as well. One of the things that I do to kind of prep and figure out, gosh, what am I going to do? I kind of figure out how far I want to go in with my cover. So I'm like 2.25 inches, and then I have so 2.25 inches on each side, and then I have a 4-inch spine. And so I kind of try to play with my paper to see what I'm going to do. So I normally make a mock-up. So here is my mock-up, and it is 8.25 inches tall and 8.5 inches wide. And we are going to cut your brown crocodile paper, again, 8.5 by 8.25. And pay attention to the 8.25 because those are so close, because the 8.25 is what is going to wrap around. And I just kind of test it to see, gosh, is that going to be what I need? Yes, it is. Okay. So again, we are going to cut our crocodile piece 8.5 wide by 8.25. Okay. So I believe it's already 8.5 inches wide. So you're just going to cut it down to 8.25. Now, I don't know that anybody really does this, but I'm going to kind of help you. We're going to take this with the 8.5 across the top, and we're going to score at 2 1/8 inch. And I want you just to score not super duper hard, but just score down on that. Okay, turn it, and that is a super big important thing. Turn it, and we're going to do 2 1/8 as well. And again, not super hard. You're just kind of helping train that that crocodile paper to do that. Okay. Now, again, this is a little unorthodox as well. Part of this I learned from Frances from Your Book of Memories. So we are going to take our back of this, and we're going to first go around all the way around. Then with the 8.5 width, okay, so this is 8.5 this way. That's important because it's so close. 8.5 by 8.25. So with the 8.5 going this way, I want you to put strips of your score tape like that. So what that's going to allow us to do is, I kind of scored in the wrong place there. So hold on just a second. I double scored it 2 1/8. Sorry about that. So what that is going to do is it's going to allow us to be semi-tricky with putting on our score, or our binding. Now, it would be lovely if you could take this and this lines up like that. And I'm here to tell you folks, you cannot do that. You can't. Okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to start like that. And I'm going to find my score line, and you can barely see it. And I want to make sure my score lines should be on either side of these score lines right here. So my score line right here is just off to the right here, and then this one over here is just off to the left. So here's what we get to do when you do your cover like this. We first of all are going to take this one side tape completely off. These other ones, I'm going to do what I call the L shape. So I'm just going to kind of do that L. I'm going to do that L. I'm going to do that L, and make sure you go past the score, and you'll be able to see the score in the back. That L, that L, and you're going to do that all the way down. And what's going to happen is this is going to give us the opportunity to get it on straight to begin with. And that might sound silly, but I'm sure many of you have tried to put on your this piece, and it is crooked, and once you lay it crooked, it's going to be crooked all the way across. And it's hard once you lay it down. Now I'm going to trim these just a little bit because I want them out of the way. Don't trim them all the way, but I just want to trim them enough so that they're kind of out of my way. Okay, now, again, we are going to go ahead and we're going to put glue on the exposed tape that we have. And we're going to glue in the areas. And again, when we go to lay this down, your score line that you can barely see, you want to make sure is just to the right. And you can also make sure it is your one up at the top there is just to the left of that as well. And you're going to be able to kind of stick that paper down. See that? See that? And we've only put this piece down because our tape is over here. Haven't done anything else to it. Okay, now we need to open our album because you cannot lay your album flat and continue on. You can't do that, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pieces and we're going to roll them back to just past the other line. I'm going to go right past the other line. And again, I'm going to trim these off a bit. Give them a haircut so they're not catching in our way. And again, we're going to take our glue and we're going to glue down each of those lines, those tape lines. And we're going to scribble in the blank spaces. Put the top of my glue. Okay. So you have to stand your book up because you've got to go around this corner, and you just want to gently go around the corner, you guys. Gently go around the corner. And at the beginning, just go down, just like push, you know, just a finger's width like that. Okay. All right. And then you can just continue to go over. And let's just push that down with our fingers. Keep your book standing up. Where's my little thing there? Okay. Okay, now guess what we're going to do? We are going to take the rest of our score tape off. I always start with the front and wrap to the back. So if I make a faux pas or it's not quite straight, then it's not as noticeable. And I got a piece stuck in there. That's why you want to give it a haircut. And I don't know if I can get that one out of there. And that's going to be good enough. Okay. Then we have to take off this long strip. Again, we're going to glue on our, you can scribble as you go. And again, your score lines, again, I didn't want you to do your score lines deep. They're just to help kind of train that paper to go. And this brown crocodile paper is perfect, perfect for the covering of the spine. It's just a really cool paper. Okay, now again, we're going to just move it over that that first. I'm off a little bit. I'm gonna try to fix it. I'm off just a hair, but that's okay. Okay. See, I'm off just a hair, but that's okay because we're gonna actually cover that up. Okay. So again, okay. And I burnish right on that corner. Right on that corner. Now, again, our book is not meant to lay flat anymore. But what I want you to do is I want you to lay it flat and take a deep breath, and there will be like some pokey things there. And you're going to take your fingers and you're just going to make that a line down there. And get it on there. You can actually also kind of burnish that down. And you can just gently, and I can't say that enough, gently push that crocodile paper down into your spine piece there. Okay, how about that? How about that? So when you lay your tape that way, it allows you to do that in a couple sections. And again, I'm not perfect on the back, but that doesn't mean that this piece of paper isn't up a little bit different as well, because this one looks all about the same width all the way around there. So there we go. Isn't that cool? Oh my gosh. We are going to, when we get done, we are going to take our trim that we had, and we are going to actually put that right on there at the very end. Isn't that cool? Okay, now I have got little toodles of paper everywhere, by the way. Just keep these off to the side because we will, this one's going to go on the front. We will put those on again at the end, and we'll add some flowers and some trim for that. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do, what I do, you don't have to, I just think it's special. We're also going to put paper in between these black slits here. Now, I need to have a drink of water. And we are going to actually use, we're going to put one on this here in here, and then in between each one of these. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, what I do is I do what I call a tester piece, and I cut a piece of white cardstock because really we could use about a 1/2 inch in between these. But here I cut a piece of 1/2 inch tester. I call this my tester, and I start laying it in between my stuff. And it's going to be a little tight, and you don't want it tight because then it will conflict when you go to try to turn your pages. So what we're going to, so then I cut a 3/8 of an inch and I put that down, and it's going to be just fine. So I'm going to cut my strips 3/8 inch. So we have our pieces that I had you set aside that said for the inside, and that's these two pieces. And we are going to cut these to 8 inches, the same as our lovely, this special page. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. 8 inches. I'm going to actually cut them about 8 1/4 for the inside, and then 8 for the 2 outside pages, and I'll show you what I mean. So we need to first of all cut these down to 8 1/4. And you can use whatever side top or bottom you want. I'm going to do it from here because well, I need you to do it from here because we need this piece of paper, and guess where we're going to put it? Right over that. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to make these at 8 1/4 because our book is 8 1/2 if I remember correctly. Yes, so 8 1/4. And I'm going to right away take this bottom strip off, and I'm not even going to tell you measurement. Just line it up so you get just the piece of wood. Put this in your stash because that is a perfect little card. Again, 8 1/4. I'm going to cut off that little piece of wood. Look at that. That is so cool. Look at all the great pieces they leave. Okay, so before we go anywhere, we are going to glue on this wood piece over our words. And I hope we can still cut this. So really burnish it down. Burnish it, burnish it, burnish it. And again, I'm going to take this wood piece and I am going to glue it down. I'm going to let that dry for a second because I don't want it to interfere with what I'm going to do. Now remember I said we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we are going to take one of these. We're going to need 5 strips, one, and one we're going to need 4. So it doesn't really matter. So let's just go ahead and start with a lighthouse. So we are going to cut 3/8 of an inch, and you're going to start from right here, and we are going to cut 3/8 of an inch. So remember, that's just one big mark away. So be really careful when you come to that wood trim. And I'm just going to cut 3/8 of an inch. 1, 2, 3. I should have started from the other part. Whoops. I almost cut that too big. 4. It's kind of going to give us the same effect that we had on our waterfall. And the 5th one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th one, I'm going to actually cut 1/2 inch, because that one is going to actually go on the outside. And I'm just going to set that 5th one aside. This I'm going to set aside. So these are going to be our 4 that are going to, look at that, I got them out of order again. That's super cool. These are going to go inside of our spine. And I'm going to grab my 2nd one, and I'm going to start from this side, okay? So I need to turn it upside down. And again, I'm going to cut 3/8. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to cut 4. Let's see. So I need 7 altogether. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to cut the last one at 1/2 inch. And I'm going to set that one aside. And then this you can set aside. And then this I'm going to get out of my way. Okay, so the important part is to leave these just in that order. I'm going to bring my book over here. These are the 2. This is the one from the sailboat. This one was the one from the lighthouse. I'm just going to get those out of the way. And I am going to, remember these were at 8 1/4. I'm going to start laying these right in that order on the spine only. I'm only working on the spine. Okay. And there's 7 spaces. You're always going to have one more space than you have sticky up U legs. So we have 6 sticky up U legs, and so we're going to need 7 of these. So again, I'm just going to center this in between that open spot in the top and bottom. Press it with your finger. Again, this is really fun to use stripe paper on as well. Make sure you keep them in the right order. And glue up there. And again, center it on in your page there, and then match up the top and bottom with your previous piece. You can get it in there straight. Press it with your finger. That's your 3rd one. And again, you don't have to do this. These are really cool touches that add to your album. Again, I'm lining it up at the top there. And pushing it down with my finger. So when you, I would always make a tester piece to make sure, that it does a 1/2 inch fit, or should it be 3/8? And often, sometimes 3/8 might be a little bit too too tight if you're using 1/2 inch gussets. Remember, we used 5/8 inch gussets. So you just always want to test something before you cut your strips. Okay. Because you don't want any friction for where those pages turn. Okay. Okay. And again, you would never know that there was words on that paper that we, whoops, that we didn't want. And then our last piece, it's going to go on here. Okay, so we've just put these 7 pieces on the spine. So these were 8 1/4 by 3/8 inches, and we had 7 of them only on the spine. And you can just burnish them down by turning your U's both ways. Now here's the cool part. I'm going to do this for you to see. Isn't that cool? Because you can see the pattern. Okay, so this one is actually going to go on this page. And we're going to go ahead and leave it at 8 1/4. Your book right here is going to be only 8 inches, but we will just center that in there. So we're just going to go ahead and leave it 8 1/2. And remember, this one is 1/2 inch. And we're just going to, make sure you do not get in the score. You can, just make sure that it's going to, you'll see me play with this until I make sure, if I see that maybe something isn't catching on that. Okay, and then I'm going to do my other piece over here on my left side. And again, make sure you're away from the score line that's in your where it bends. Look at that. Okay, so there whoops, let me put my pin on my piece. There we have that. Okay, so we're going to let that set for a minute because we are going to finish up our pages because we are going to put our pages in our book. These, put it in your scrap pile. Let me grab my pages that we've all completed. We have just a few things to put in because remember we had a few pieces that we had to wait until we had our, through our scraps. So here is page 1. And we have these 2 pieces to fill in. So these are wood pieces from that back piece of your paper where we cut the wood strips down. And this was in your stash already on these sizes, so it's kind of funny. So we're going to first, this one is 3/4 of an inch wide already. Well, actually it's about 7/8 inch by well, we're going to have to trim this just a little bit. So this one, we need to trim it to 7 3/4. So we need to trim 7 3/4. So again, we're just going through and wrapping up our pieces, our pages, because we're getting ready to put in our book. And there we go. I'm completing this on a Saturday, so I hope you guys are, even when you watch this a year down the road, it's a Saturday, so I hope whatever day you're working on, it is a fabulous day. I'm just going to put that on there. Do it with my hand first. I always like to hear it with my hand first because it keeps it from sliding. And then this again is from your already cut like that, and I believe this is 1¼ inch by 4 1/8, and that is just going to go fit right there, and we're just going to center that on there. That way, what I don't want you to do is I never want you to cut into these pieces right away when we're doing these fill-ins, because you never know whether you're going to need it later on in life. So I don't like to do that. Okay, so there's that. That's now we're done with page 1. I'm just going to set this behind me here. We have page 2, and all we had left on this one was this little bitty strip here. Again, this is from the back page. Again, from that back page wood. It would have been a piece that you had sliced and diced from before. And so this I just need to cut 6 1/8 inch. And it's just a minute, like a 1/4 inch strip. That you can probably throw away. And while we have this page out here, let me show you, and I'm going to put that down with my hand for a second. Let's add just a little Wink of Stella to the highlight of the water. So I'm just going to kind of go where it's white and put some highlights in the water. Okay. I know that's super hard to see. You can kind of see it sparkle. If you don't have Wink of Stella, when you order your kit, ask for a Wink of Stella pen. It is so, so nice. Okay, so there we go. We're ready with that one. Page 3. Page 3 was the one, remember, I kind of made my pocket wrong, and I sliced and diced in there in my tutorial a section to correct that. So I apologize for that, silly me. So I had my magnet on here, and if you remember, I had a messed up problem right here, but I got that fixed as a magnet as well. Oops, I forgot we need that little piece right there. So we're going to use, we just cut off that front that we did when we were making this in here. So this is just a piece I have right here in my stash. Okay, so first of all, let's go ahead and cut this pocket piece. And this piece we already have, it's already, and it told you to use it for page 3, and it'll say trim. And that's because we need to trim it up. So it's already the right length, which is, I believe, 6 inches. But we want to cut it to about 1.5. Okay, and I'm going to actually cut it this way because I want to use this. See how that goes around there? Isn't that cool? So I want to use that on my pocket. So I'm going to cut that at 1.5. This is going to go in our stash. We don't have much of a stash left, folks, but it's kind of fun, and I need to ink this one. So again, this is 6 by 1.5. So we just trimmed that piece that we had that I had set aside. And the reason that it wasn't told you I hadn't cut it yet, and so I did not want to cut it at that time. I wasn't sure I was going to use it for. That's why it wasn't cut in the cut of the paper tutorial, or list of paper cutting. Again, I hope you guys liked that, where you had your paper where you could visually see how to cut it and have that paper be ready. Okay, so we're going to glue this down. Remember, get your glue close to the edges. Glue your tape. Just center that on there. This is cool because look how that lines up. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Sweet. Be careful when you burnish it down because you have that magnet in there. Okay, so the other thing that we need, the other thing that we need in here is we need to put our trim right here. So I already have my trim cut, and I want to make sure I already have my trim cut. And remember, this is the Prima ribbon, the twine that has, it looks to me, it reminds me of hemp. It fits perfectly with this product. It's just really great. I will tell you what I have in my stash is I use, because I'm a quilter, I have this stuff called fray check. And what I do on each of the ends of my ribbon is I actually take this, it's liquid, and I fray check my end. And what that does, it's wet, so you have to let it dry for a minute. It actually helps and doesn't let, it does, your ribbon will not continue to fray. I do that on all my ribbon. And again, this is just in my stash of this fray check. And I don't think currently Shelly has it, but I'm going to ask her to get some because that is perfect for your ribbon. Okay, so I want to show you a beautiful gift my mom did. She made me this beautiful holder for my glue gun. Isn't that great? Love you, Mom. Thank you so much. And we are going to actually, on here, glue this down. We're going to glue our trim down. And I'm just going to, I hope I do not run out of hot glue because I can't not find mine and I do not want to go to the store right now. And I'm just going to pop this down. Whoops. This one's a little, I got this one a little off. Make sure that you cut your ribbon with great scissors. And where are my great scissors? Sharp scissors, very sharp scissors, you guys. I'm just gonna trim that. Okay. Okay, and I am going to re-fray check that because I cut off what I had fray checked already. Okay. Sweet. Anyway, my mom made me that holder for my glue gun. Okay, so look at that. Look at that. Push that down a little bit. Isn't that cool? Okay, so whoops, we have one more piece to put in, and that's this right down here. And let's just take this. Do we want to do part of, let's do part of a clock. So this piece needs to be 2 1/4 by about 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to do 3/4 of an inch. Whoops, sorry. By 2 1/4, and you can figure out where you want it to cut. Put this square in your stash. Our stash is so little. So little. You know what's kind of cool though? When we get done, we're going to use almost all your paper, so you will not have like a whole bunch of leftovers to figure out what am I going to do with that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there. Look at that. That's pretty cool. That is like really cool, as a matter of fact. Sweet, 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 sweet. Okay. There we go with that page. Page 3. Page 4. We had again, a little corner up here to take care of. And again, I told this piece said to use it on page 4 into trim, and that's because we needed to figure out what size we need. And so we are going to cut 2 3/4 by about 2 1/2. Okay, 2 3/4 by 2 1/2. Get rid of my little sticky note. And I want the 2 3/4 is this way, and the 2 1/2 is this way. So I'm going to cut my 2 1/2 first. And so we're going to cut it with that rope on top there. Put that in your stash. And then we're going to cut 2 1/2 inches. Right? Right. Did I do that? Right? Probably not. Yes, so I need, that's 2 1/2, I need 2 3/4. Again, you can put that little baby piece in your stash. I don't know that we would need it, but you never know. Okay, let me quickly ink this one. This is why I don't like to craft in the moment, because I always have to ink my papers, and some of you don't, and that takes extra time. So I tried to have a lot of it ready to go. So that is just going to go right there. And again, remember, if you get a micron pen, and I personally for this one would use brown. The micron pen is a fine line pen. These right here, that on your page right here, you could put the size of the photo that they would need if you want. You don't have to. I today bought a Canon selfie, I think it's called a selfie, that will print 4.5 by 6 photos directly from your phone or from a card or whatever. You get 104 prints for like $30, which comes out about 40 cents a piece. And it also does a couple other, I think you can get 4 pictures on one page, one 4 by 6 page as well. But it kind of, what I want to start doing is, I love my grandchildren. They are my life. I have 4 beautiful granddaughters, and yes, I have Facebook, and I have thousands of pictures of my grandchildren from the time they were born to now, and I want to start printing them because they're going to get lost in the shuffle. So each of them, I'm going to make each of them their own book. I don't know, I'll need 4 of them, and I'll have their names down here, and then I'll have a 5th one that has like all encompassed of everything. So those will be my legacy for me when I'm in my old age and I'm looking at them. Okay, so that page 4 is completely done. This is page 5, and there was nothing to fix on that. Page 6, there was nothing to fix on that. Page 7, I put my Wink of Stella. See that glitter? Put my Wink of Stella on here, and we need to put our trim right up there. And I think that's all we needed in this one. Okay, so again, it's going to be this piece. And again, it's cut too big, but that's okay. We're gonna get my beautiful setup that my mom gave me. And we are going to put on our trim. Again, this trim was absolutely perfect for this paper collection. And Mel, who picked it out for me, did an awesome, awesome job. Okay. Sharp scissors, ladies, folks. Sorry, I hope I have some gentlemen in here too. I did not mean that, sorry. So we're just going to cut that off. And because I cut that off, I'm going to do my fray check on it. The hot glue gun will also help keep that down, but I like to do that. Okay, so that is page 7, and that one is done. Page 8 is done. One thing that you guys can do on your pages after you get all done, if you want, like this is that piece right here, you know, we could mat that and stick it on there. So, you know, when I do my final paper, my final review, you might see a few of those little things. So that page there was nothing with page 8. Page 9, there was nothing. Page 10, I don't think there was anything. Oops, yes. Page 10, we needed to complete this bottom here. Again, this is some of that wood paper from your back, and this is already trimmed the right size at 6 by 1 3/8. Okay. And this video is going to be a little bit longer because I really want to wrap it up on this one. So it might be a little bit longer, and I apologize, but I want to wrap it up. Okay. And then we have, I don't think there was anything on this one. Nope. And then our last page. So we are golden. Okay, so let me get the hot glue gun out of the way. And let me clear off my space because we are going to put our pages in our book. Okay, so in our books, we're gonna grab all the even number pages. So that is important, and we're just gonna do one at a time. And I'm gonna put my, let me get all my stuff out of the way here, you guys. We're gonna put on the even or the odd pages first, and then we're gonna come back and put the even pages on. I actually like to start from the back because it's easier to do. So I am going to put on, I'm looking for page 11. Okay, so page 11, I'm going to use my little white cheater sheet. Page 11 is just going to adhere right on here. And when we put that down, let me get a bigger piece of white paper, you guys. When we put that down, it's gonna, remember we had that score line, because on our U spines we have that score line, that half-inch score line, which is what makes this an incredible way to do this. Okay, so I kind of want to move this paper out of the way, because so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get score tape, and I want you to use, you can use 1/4-inch tape. If you use 1/4-inch tape, use 2 rows of it, or you can use 1 row of 1/2-inch or 1 row of 3/8. On, we're going to put it on your paper. Okay, so this is the page 11. We're going to put the tape right here. Okay, so I'm going to grab my tape. Whoops! Oh my gosh! And I'm just going to roll it right down. And make sure, if you like, this one has that extra gusset in the sticking out here, so make sure that you do not tape that. Okay, exciting! I'm going to rip that tape up. We're going to put glue on it, and putting glue on it right here is important, because this is going to give you the opportunity to get your pages straight. I know that's some of the frustration that I've been reading in some of the blogs, is that you can't get your pages straight. So again, we're going to go just right before that score line, and we're going to I'm going to look, is my page in there straight? Yep. Touch it, I mean barely move it with your finger, and then I want you to put it over, and is it straight laying this way? Is it straight going that way? And it is. Okay, once you're okay with that, then burnish it down. Okay, and then I open your pieces here and burnish that down. Okay, 1 in. Now I need page 9. And page 9 is going to go on the next U. And we're going to put that again, just like that. And so I need to take my tape, and I'm going to put it to the inside there. I never say anything is fail-proof, you guys. Make sure that you don't go over into your gusset piece that's sticking out there. When you put your tape on, there's that extra gusset, that 1/8-inch gusset from the page above, so be careful that you don't do that. Okay, so again, this is not 100% foolproof, because nothing is, but I think if you try this, you are going to be so successful. I have made many albums before I did this where my pages were crooked because I used the spine system that they were all hooked together, and you know the spine was off like maybe 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch down, and the more crookeder you got. And you know, first of all, it's upsetting, and when you spend all that time and energy on your album to do that, now most of the people that are receiving it don't even know, but there you go. Okay, so again, I'm going to be looking at lining this up right to that that line, right to that score line. At the same time, I'm going to look, is it matching my page down that I already have in? Yep, and remember, we're just going to finger press it, because I want to make sure that when I put this the other way, is it looking like it's straight? And if I put this one in there, is that in straight? And it is. Okay, so now that I'm comfortable, I'm going to go ahead and burnish that down. And what I want to show you is that some of my sticky tape is sticking out right here. That's okay, but we just want to be careful that it doesn't stick onto your page. And I don't think it will. So you just want to be careful about that. Okay, so I've been using 1/2 inch. I'm going to use 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so now I'm looking for page 7, which is going to go on my next U. Okay, page 7, and I'm going to put my score tape. Remember how we put the word top on your pages? Make sure that your page says top. Again, I have been blessed of putting my pages upside down, and that's pretty upsetting. And so this is 3/8 inch. This will work better. Whoops, I got that a little too far down. Remember, like when you're squishing your pages, be careful because we've got gussets in some of these. Okay, again, whoops, oh my gosh, I almost forgot my glue. That would have been not cool. Okay, I'm going to line it up. I'm going to, with that score, and I'm going to make sure it's straight with my other pages. And again, I'm just going to kind of press it in there a little bit because it looks good on this side, but let's make sure it looks good. When I do this, it's perfect. I know you can't see that, but it is perfect. Okay. Oops. Oh, dang it. And then it came off. Shoot a Rooney. Now I have to put it back on and make sure, again, that we have it on there straight. And I'm going to have to unfold this a little bit because I need to give it a little pressing there. Again, let's make sure that it is straight. It is. So let's score it on this side, or burnish it on this side. Okay, looking good. Oh my gosh, this is looking so incredibly good. We are now on page 5. Again, we are going to add our tape to it. Nope, I need to get those lovely ladies at J&S to send me some more 3/8 inch tape. Take our tape off. I should have put my lid on my glue. And we're going to get that done. Get my lid, my glue. And again, I'm going to put that on there right up to that score line. And I'm just going to kind of baby push it on there. It's perfect on this end. I'm going to close my book, and it's perfect on that side. Awesome. And as you know, look how flat your book lays, you guys. Isn't that incredible? I know we don't have all the pages in yet, but we are now going on to page 3. We're going to add our score tape. Always burnish that down before you pull it off because that makes the glue adhere to, the sticky tape adhere to your cardstock. Glue that. And again, I'm going right to that score line. Whoops. And I'm going to make sure it matches my pages, which is off just a little bit there. See how I was able to lift that up, you guys? Because if you did not use glue, excuse me, I have got to come in a little bit closer, so if my head gets in the way, I'm sorry. If you didn't use glue, we would be having a little bit of a problem here. Okay, so I'm going to make sure. So if it's not perfectly straight on your binding strip, that's okay. You really want it straight here. Okay, and so, yep, there we go. So mine is not, if you look at it, if you could look at it really close, it's not perfectly straight on my binding strip, and that's okay. We would rather have it straight here, and that's the beauty of this U-shaped piece. Okay, now, and see how all those are all beautifully going together? Now we are going to put on page 1. Again, this video is going to be a little bit longer. I apologize because I want to wrap this up. We're coming up to just an hour, so hopefully we can wrap this up in an hour and a half, but I really want this to be our final. Again, we're going to put this on there. And again, I'm going to line it up to that halfway, where that thing is, and we're going to make sure my pages are straight. I'm going to finger press it, and I'm going to open it up. I'm going to make sure that they are all in play, and it's perfect. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay. Now we're going to go and put the rest of our pages on. Page 2 goes on top of page 1. And when we're going to put these on, we're going to score tape all the way around and a couple down the middle, but we're going to always line it up out to here. We're going to always line it out to the side, okay? So where's my 1/4 inch score tape? Because now we can use, I'm going to use 2/3 of an inch on the inside piece right here. Whoops. And then I'm going to put 1/4 inch tape all the way around the rest. And sorry, I didn't have, this part I didn't have prepped because I wanted to show you. So that's why this video is going to be just a tad bit longer. And some people are going to say, well, why aren't you putting the tape on the U shape? And then I'm going to run just a couple of pieces down here. The reason is when you put it on that U shape and then you don't actually get, your page isn't straight, your U wasn't straight, and so you have to maneuver it like this one right here, then your tape would, your sticky would be not touching anything. And we wouldn't want that. Okay, so we are going to lift all of our pages up. All of our pages, all of our tape up. I don't know what that was all about. Okay, and absolutely we're going to glue our tape, and that's, again, important. And we're going to glue in the blank spaces. I'm going to put the lid on my glue. Okay, now, again, we are going to line up the corners of your pages. And we're going to then lay it down in there. We're going to open it up and we're going to burnish it. How slick is that? Okay, we are moving on to page 4, and we're going to put our heavier tape right here. And again, it's okay if you just use 1/4 inch tape. That is 100% fine. I have to make myself some workspace here so I can get my tape on. I don't know. I will try to speed this part up. I don't know. That's one part I don't know how to do yet on my editing. So I hope you guys are okay with a longer video. I'm sorry it took me so many videos to put this together, but I really wanted to give you a step-by-step great tutorial. I wanted you to be able to feel comfortable that you could do this, and I wanted you to have a great success. And so that is why I did that. Burnish these all down. Take my pokey tool. Take all these strips off. And we are going to glue all the way around where the tape is at. Scribble in the blank spaces. Make sure you have your page turned the right way. And again, we're going to line up our corners and everything there. Incredible. That's all I can say is incredible. Moving right along to page 6. I hope this gives you an idea of a way to, again, put your book together. I hope you like the U system. Again, remember we can have an odd number of pages in there by using the T, but on this one I was able to maneuver all this paper to get the U. I mean, to be able to make 12 pages plus your inside, front, and back cover. And I want to make sure that I got my tape going the horizontal way, or the vertical way. So typically you're probably going to use a roll of score tape for each project. Pretty close. It is well worth it. If we didn't use the glue, you'd probably be using 1.5 to 2 packages of score tape. But with the glue, we are able to maneuver that down to about 1. And you may have a little bit left over, but typically it's about 1 roll, or pretty close to it. And you know, you might think that the albums are a little bit expensive, but they're the most incredible gifts that you can give to make for yourself. Like I need to make them for my granddaughters. And again, there has not been one that I have given away that has not been the biggest hit of a baby shower, a wedding gift. I'm making a travel one for one of my friends who took a mission trip. I mean, the reaction is just incredible. And I put my big tape on the wrong side. It doesn't matter though. Okay, so I'm gonna line these up. And because we already knew that our pages were straight, they're going to continue to stay straight. And that's, again, the beauty of putting in the odd numbers first and going backwards, and then you come back and you put your other ones in. Okay, so we're on page 8. Tape goes on this side. And we are getting this tape on here. Again, I will try to figure out how to speed this up because every single page we have is, you're going to hear it the same. So I'll try to figure out how to speed up my video. And if I can, good for me. If I can't, then you are just going to be hanging in there, and we're going to be walking through at normal time with each paper. But I think we'll be able to, you got the gist of it. Once we get past the first couple, they're exactly the same. And again, because our pages were straight in the beginning, then these are going to be straight as well. And who would have thought that, huh? I'm putting glue on every one of my tapes. All I can say, if I would have had half of these tips when I first started making it, I would have been way more successful quicker. Again, I am going to line up my corners, which then makes my pages all line up. Two pages to go. I'll put our tape right here. This score tape is really easy to rip. I sometimes just don't like it to rip, though. Now be careful on this page, because there is that gusset, and you don't want to get your tape on that gusset. Two horizontal strips. These I will rip, because burnish those down. As long as you've cut your 8x8 base pages consistently, you are going to be pretty close right on every time. I'm just going to glue all my pieces there. And I'm going to line up my corners and my top there with this. Make sure we got it in there right. This is that one, remember, you have to remember how to close it. This one goes like that. And oops, I think that's got to go down first. That one you're going to have to show whoever you gift this to. You're going to have to show that to. Last page. Whoopie doopie. Okay. That's good, because I'm just about out of score tape. And again, it's okay if you only use 1/4 inch. It's not gonna come out of your book, so don't think that. Great, I did not put the pin in my glue. Okay. Where is my score? I'm like, where did my score tool go? Where am I? Phone folder. Pokey tool. And I know you watch people do things and they always work for them, and then you try it and it doesn't. And again, I'm not saying this binding system is foolproof, but it is pretty nice. I really haven't had, I used to have really super crooked pages, and I know that's been a an issue with many of you, and this system allows you to correct that. I might have put the paper on the wrong side on this one too. I think I did, or the thick tape, but again, that's why I said it's okay with 1/4 inch tape. Okay, so I'm going to line up those. I'm lining up my top. And, oh my gosh. Okay, so let's just really quickly go through this, and then we're going to, look at that. Can you see? And what I want you to do, I want you to just kind of give that a little bend. That'll kind of help your album, where that 1/2 inch mark is, you know, your score. Look how flat your book lays. Okay, let's put in this, and we're just going to center it right on there. We already have it made. We already have our tape on there. So let's just get our tape off. You know, I've talked to you many times. I don't make my chipboard. I don't cut my chipboard for my cover until the very end of my book, because I never know how deep I want my spine. Sometimes my pages are get chunky, so sometimes I need a 4 inch spine. Sometimes I need a 2.5. So I don't do that until I get all done. So that's why I do mine. I don't know. I guess I do mine backwards. And if I make my cover, I used to make my cover first, and then I would get ink on it, or I'd get it dirty, or I'd drop it. So I don't do that anymore. But what I do is I always take my paper out that I'm going to use for the cover. Because if you don't, when you get to the end, especially in this one, I would have been in a lot of trouble. Okay, so we're just going to center that right on there. I'm going to open this up, and this is so cool. I'm going to give that a good burnish. Close that back up. I need to trim that. I haven't trimmed mine yet. Okay, let's go do the waterfall. In the waterfall, we need to add a trim to it right here. So we're going to go ahead and put this on, and then we're going to add our trim to it. Well, you know what? Let's add our trim first. So we're going to take our trim piece that goes on here, and we're going to get my beautiful handy dandy holder, and I'm going to hot glue. I have got to go today to get some more glue sticks. I have some, I just cannot find them. And I'm just going to press that down. You can use the glue. The glue will absolutely stick. The cool thing about the hot glue gun is it sticks right away, and and with trim that's really kind of important. Okay, so where's my good scissors? And I'm just going to trim that away. I'm going to push that down, and I'm going to get my fray check on there. You can set that out of the way. Set that out of the way. Oh my gosh, does this not look incredible? Okay, and then this is going to get set right. We're just going to put that right in there. I'm taking off my tape, you guys. I know I'm a little bit out of camera view. Taking off all my tape. Oh gosh, I threw my pen right there. I was so used to throwing my my strips there, I just threw the pen in there. Okay, so I'm gluing my tape, scribbling on my blank spaces. And this we're just going to put up towards the top, and I'm going to center it with that black space I have left. And I want it even with that strip at the top. Let me find my pin in the middle of all that. And again, remember, you really need to turn these one at a time. I'm just going to do that. Get that down there. There's that. And what did I do with my piece that I was going to use for right there? Oh my gosh, Rooney. Let's look in our stash of what we have left. I thought I had a piece picked out, but evidently I do not. So this, we do not have a long enough piece to fit across there. So we are just going to look at a few different pieces that we have. And let me see here. You know what? So I have these two pieces left, and they are cut apart, but we are going to marry them back together. I'm going to show you how you do that. This is it, you guys. This is what you have left in your stash. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Okay, so these two pieces, I will go back and make sure that they are marked on your stuff. And the first thing I need is a piece of black paper. And I'm showing you what I'm going to do. I'm going to marry these two pieces of paper back up together. I need them to be I'm going to say 1 3/4 inch. Let me get this out of the way for just 1 second. This is how you become very tricky. 1 3/4 with the knot at the top. 1 3/4 with the rope on the top. I'm not done with that. I'm going to take, and I don't quite need that big a piece. Just get a little piece of black cardstock. Glue about a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. Lay it down there at the and you can just use it at the top there. Furnish that down good. Take your other piece. Glue that. I'll just kind of zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to marry those two pieces up. Like that. Okay. Then I'm just going to trim off that black if it's over on either side. And I've just made my now a piece big enough to cover what I need. So I will go back now that I'm done with it, and I'll go mark these pieces that we're going to trim for this. And then we need to trim it. And we need to trim it to about, we want really about 8 inches. It's garbage. Sorry, folks. I need to distress my edges. I'm going to pop back out. You know, if that seam bothers you, you can put something over it. But, you know, in the long run, people are not even going to really look at it. Make sure that fits. Look at that. Glue that down. I'm going to glue down, I have a little bit of my ribbon sticking up there. Okay, all right. So we're going to keep right on going. Again, this video is going to be longer, I apologize, but I want to get this finished up. Look at that, you guys. Oh my gosh. Who would have thunk it? Okay, so let's move along to finishing up the covers. So we are going to put down our trim again on each side of this, and we are going to use our beautiful hot glue gun. And I'm just going to, I hope I do not run out of hot glue, because otherwise I'm going to be upset, because I might. And I'm just going to start that, and I'm going to go right on with my crocodile paper to help me keep it straight. Right on with my crocodile paper. Help me keep it straight. Okay, and this one I had cut the perfect size. Okay, whoops, I got strings everywhere, you guys. Make sure that's down before you, let's turn it over. Again, this is 8 1/4, because remember, that's what size we cut our paper. And I'm going to start from this side. And this is where you will be able to, you know how I said I was a little bit off in that one? I'll be able to correct that, because it will be covered up with this. So sorry, I'm just going to hot glue a little bit. And that, because we're following the crocodile paper, it's going to be straight. Push it down. And I'm just a little bit long. Just a little bit long. And again, I'm going to match it up with that paper there. I will put a little bit of, I'm going to actually hot glue this piece down. And let me try not to burn myself. Do some fray check on it. Okay. Pretty cool. Now we're going to take, we are going to add these. We need our back in our stash. And I am going to use this piece right here. It's 1 1/4 by 7 3/4. And I just need to cut a couple pieces. We don't need to go all the way across. We just need to put that on there, so it's going to cover those. So I don't want to do it with my scissors, because I won't cut it straight. So let's just do like, we need 4 of them. So like 1 inch. So let's do 4 at 1 inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Put that back in your stash. And make sure you have them going the right way, the lines, when you go to put it on. And just butt that right against there. And you can use your ruler to try to get it to go in the right place. Look at that. I'm going to use my ink pad to help stand it up there for me so I can line it up here. So I'm going to use my ruler to help me kind of line it up where it needs to go. And I'm just going to stick that down in there. Okay, let's go do the other side. See how your binding, the way this binding works, it makes your this can lay down so nicely. It's hard to believe that it does. What did I do with my other? Okay, like what did I do with them? Just doing my inking job because my other ones are all inked and I need to make sure that this is inked as well. Otherwise, it would look kind of funky. Okay, set that down. Oh gosh. Well, I inked the wrong side. I glued the wrong side, so now I got to ink that. Glue that. Take my ruler. Help me get it on there. And it doesn't have to be perfect because nobody's going to take a ruler and say, oh my gosh, is that the right way. Okay. Oh gosh, a Rooney. Oh great, I just took the lid off, the top off that pin. So we're gonna have to use this bottle. Okay, now we have 2 of these cards that are gonna actually go on either side of those. You can choose to raise them up or you can choose to have them flat. So that's completely up to you. On the back one, I'm definitely going to put on flat. And I am actually going to score tape around the outside of those. This is on the outside and that gets a little bit more wear and tear than anything else. So I'm just going to score tape around. What a great use of our front covers, front paper in for our paper packet. So we were able to use that without, I mean, and so we basically, that's like an extra page for us to use. Burnish those all down. Put those up. We're going to glue on the tape, scribble in the blank middle, and then you can just lay that however you want and just making sure that you are covering up the covering up what we need to cover up. Look at that, isn't that slick? Okay, let's flip it to the front. And this is the one I'm going to put on the front. I'll do the same thing. And put your score tape on that. Nobody is going to know that that was the front paper that most people would have thrown away. But not us. Nooper. Whoops. Burnish that down. Set that up. Again, I am going to glue on my tape. And I'm just going to make sure that I have covered what I needed to cover. Okay. Okay. The next thing we need is our drits, our hook and eye, and we need a set. So when you get these from Shelly, this is the brass color, which is my very favorite. There's 3 of them in here, so you're actually going to be able to make 3 albums with it. So they come in different colors, but the brass is by far the best, and it's the perfect color for this. Okay, so on this, this is not going to get glued on anywhere. What's going to get glued on is this piece right here. And we're going to find this middle of our album, which this is 8 1/2, so it's 4 1/4. And we're just going to make a little mark right there. This is going to go right on there. And we're going to have it stick out. And I'm going to zoom in on that so you can see that, okay? We're going to hot glue that down. You can also use the EK 6000. Either one of them works. So I'm going to put hot glue on my, hot glue actually is easier to put on. And I'm going to, what I want to make sure is that this will fit in there. So I don't want it, you need to have it be able to get in and out of there. And I think I got mine just a hair, not too far in there. And then give that a good pinch. You know, you can use a clothespin. This is a clipper my mom gave me. I'm going to put that in there for a second. Okay, so while that's kind of putting itself in place, I want to tell you about a couple other things that I've done. What you have left in your stash is this. I'm just going to set that album out of the way for a minute. What you have left is we had all of these little tags. I actually just matted them on a rectangle black. You could also, if you wanted to trim this actually out, I did not. And so what I did is these are about 2.5 by 4, and they're really not quite that, because when you go to cut them, you just want to make sure that when you're cutting them and that you are cutting in between where the browns touch. And so it may not be exactly. So what I did, and I'm going to show you on this, is I took a little bit bigger piece. So this is like 2 3/4 by 4.5, and it made it too big. Some of them, however, fit perfectly. But what I did then is I just took my Fisker cutter that has that wire in there, and I lined it up, and I looked to see, okay, yep, that's about where I want it, and I cut it, okay? And I did the same thing with the top here, okay? So that's what I did with mine. So but this one, when I glue it down, it's almost perfect. So, but it's the same size paper as what I had. So you just kind of have to play with that. So these I'm just going to put throughout the book. You'll see that. You've seen that when I actually did my reveal of the album, and those we're just going to stick in the pockets. The other things that you have left is I left a whole page of these beautiful postcards, and you can choose to mat them or you can choose to leave them. And I'm going to leave them because on the back is journaling. So you could mat them on black and then have it so you could put a photo on the back. It's strictly up to you, but I'm going to leave mine because people could still put a photo on the back. The photo will still fit. It's going to be a little bit small. They'll have to trim it, or they can actually use it to journal. So I want to leave those as is. The other thing I want to show you is what we have left in our stash. Really is not much. I'm like super excited about this because I use this paper to the most potential that we had, and this is really this is what we have left. And so what I want you to know is that we have a few pieces in there that you can now, and you will see these that I have made into photo mats. When you looked in the very beginning, when you saw the reveal of the album itself. These I've just made into photo mats. So I'll mount them on black paper, maybe trim them a little bit. Here's another postcard that I'll probably leave. But I will trim these down and put black paper behind them, and then these will be my photo mats. So when I get done with this, this really is going to be what's left. How about that? So I'm not going to take you walking through how to make a photo mat. I'm sure you do. You're just going to take black paper and mat it around, you know, make it a little bit, a 1/4 inch bigger than each side, and glue it on there, and then trim it out, and then you can just put those in your book. And so don't worry about if they're 4x6. It doesn't matter, because people can trim their photos to what it is. So that's where, when you saw the mats in the book, this is what I have left. But I don't want you to do this until you're all completely done with what you're doing, because in case you decide to do something different than Bonita, if you want to add some little different embellishments, then there you go. Okay, so that's where that's coming from. And I'm pretty excited about that. Usually when I get done, I have pieces left, and I'm trying to think what I'm going to do with it. Not with this one. So I think I get gold stars for that. Okay, so now I use ribbon on mine, and I have this in my stash. And I always cut my ribbon too big to begin with, because I never want to be like messed up. So I'm going to cut 16 inches twice. And again, it's way too much, but I just want to have it. And this is just ribbon I have in my stash. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the back, and again we're going to mark it halfway, which is 4 1/4. Put a little dot there. And yep, I'm out of there. Okay, I am actually going to glue. I kind of cut those at an angle. I'm going to glue these down over like this, just over top of that dot. So I'm going to hot glue right on that dot, and I'm going to put the first piece down. And you want it in there a little ways. Squish it. Don't burn yourself. I'm just going to push it with that for a minute. That kind of flattens it. My mom, I'm a lime green nut. Lime green's my very favorite. Halloween is my favorite holiday, the cutesy Halloween. And so my mom gave me that. And then I'm going to hot glue again right on top of it. I'm going to put my second piece down. And don't make them even, because you don't want it to be like perfect. Try not to burn yourself. That was not smart to do. It stuck right to my paper. Okay, so we're going to let that kind of dry in here, and we are going to put our flowers on the outside of our album, and then we are kind of done. So remember, we have our beautiful flowers. We have some beautiful flowers from Vintage Shades before it. I couldn't say this again. I can't. I am not pulpery. I can't say that. It just won't come out. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to build our flowers on here, and then we have some of these beautiful roses in here that I'm going to take a couple of these out, and we're just going to decorate the front of our album. And so we have many different sizes of flowers. I'm going to use some of these little ones that you will see through when I do the reveal. I'm going to put some of these little flowers throughout my pages. So when you see that in the beginning, that's what I did. So when you get this package, it comes with these 3 different sizes. And these I'm going to kind of put throughout my book. But so you will see that. So let's get this open. And this one open. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay some things down and kind of lay them out to kind of how I like them before I glue them down. And you kind of want, I don't know if I have wire cutters or not. Shoot. And I do not want to ruin a pair of my scissors, but I might have to. probably wasn't the best thing in the world for me to do. I want to kind of lay this down. I'm not sure about that. We're also going to want one to come up here to cover up for effect. So let's go ahead and put that one down. And that's one of the bigger flowers. So we're going to just, oh, I am like to my end of my hot glue. So we're just going to press that down, and it's going to cover up our space there, and we're going to need one for the back, so we're going to keep on that. And so I'm going to kind of arrange these. And you know, I've always told that odd number is always best. I'm going to kind of maybe make this rose. Where's another rose here? Oops, that leaf, I'm going to use that leaf. I'm going to kind of do that. Let's do this. I am like literally, I just don't even know if I'm going to make this. Shoot, shoot, shoot. So I'm going to have to glue them on to show you, because I am not, it's not going to, I don't have any more hot glue. So we're just going to kind of, you need to hot glue them on. They will not stay well without them being hot glued on. Or my EK6000. You know, let me see if I have my EK6000 right here. If I do, that'll be great. If not, yeah, I don't think I have any more EK6000 here in my, I have some, but not right at my fingertips. So we are just going to glue our stuff down. Let me see if I can use something to push my hot glue. Oh, I know. This is probably not the safest thing that you can do. I'm going to maneuver this so I can get some hot glue. There we go. You want to, they really need to be hot glued down, otherwise they will not stay on, you guys. Okay. Ah! My hot glue device my mom made me just took a dive because I'm not using it appropriately. I'm going to trick this again. This is not safe, by the way, you guys, so but I want to be able to finish this for you, and if I don't have my hot glue, I won't be able to do that. And let's just put that little leaf right in there. And the leaf I can glue. Oops, I got a string. Got a stringer. Look at that, you guys. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Is that not beautiful? Okay, so this should be, now on the back side, which now we can't really lay this down, we want to also put a flower right over there, okay? So I'm going to try to, one last time, get enough out of my hot glue to lay that right on top of there. Okay. Wow. Is that stunning? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I will probably take a few smaller flowers and put them around. So I'm going to do that. And I'm gonna glue these for the moment. So let's put that leaf down. Let's put that leaf down. These are flatter flowers. These are the medium-sized ones. And so they're going to go, they are going to go on there a little bit better. And then let's take a little teeny tiny one and put on there. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Okay, and then just take some of your other ones and go through and add them to some of your pages, as you saw in my reveal of my album. Okay, so the last thing that I want to show you, and as I have a mess here, a huge mess, is how I take care of these ribbons. And what did I do with my other piece of my hook and eye? Okay, so I am a super visual person. And if you adhere this ribbon to this book and make it fit, that's cool. But as you add pictures to it, it's going to grow. And when it grows, you won't be able to grow if you lock this ribbon down. So what I do is I take my ribbon and I string it through the one on each of the eyes of the clasp. And again, I have way too much ribbon, so 12 inches each would have been fine. And I'm just going to string it through there. Well, what in the world just happened? String it through there. Get down in there. And I'm going to get it kind of where I want it. What's going on here? And I'm going to tie a knot, or tie it. Okay. And I'm going to tie a bow. I am not a good bow tire, just by the way. But I'm going to tie a bow. And I am going to then trim off what I think is appropriate. And you can train, you'll be able to train it. And as the album grows, they can untie it and make it bigger. Does that make sense? So again, as I put pictures in there, this is going to expand. It's going to expand all the way up to the 4-inch spine. But if you make this 4 inches, then this is going to flop around, and I don't like that. So that's what I do, is I actually put it on my hook, and as it grows, I can untie it and I can make it bigger to make it fit the album again, and then I just retie the bow. So you need to tell who the recipient, you just need to tell that. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm going to just tie it down to the what size it's going to work now. I'm going to tie my bow, and we're golden. Okay, that is it, folks. I am so excited. I don't think I forgot anything. Again, we've got lots of mats already. I mean, photo mats to put in there. We have all of these. We have these, and then we have that little bit of group of paper left that you can mat and put in your albums that you will see then as from the reveal that I did in the beginning. And we'll go ahead and put some more of these little flowers throughout there, and feel free to decorate however you want. I want to thank you all for watching my videos. I hope to continue to have you follow me. I hope that you enjoyed this and that you learned some things, and I hope that you liked some of the things I did for you. Please comment. I always has to be nice because I know sometimes people get, tough, but I want you to reach out to Jana's Hobbies. The link will be below to reach out to get all your paper. This is Sea Land from Stamporium. You need 2 packages of it. The flowers are from the Vintage Shades Potpourri. We use the Vintage Photo ink. That's really great. This Wink of, you know what else you can do with the Wink of Stella? Oh my gosh. This right here with the Wink of Stella, you guys, I totally forgot. Guess what you can do? Paint your flowers. Paint your flowers, and then they're super sparkly. I forgot that. That's also one of my favorite things to do. Give them a little bit of stuff. Okay, thank you so much. I will be giving, oops, that came undone. There we go. Thanks so much.